Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was interesting to listen to my good friend from North Carolina with her interpretation. You know, it's interesting. My Republican friends simply had no solution other than to gut the infrastructure investments that are so critical, the health care initiatives, and replace it with more tax cuts, most of which would not meet the needs of people who need help the most. I will tell you, I invite people to look at what we did. Indeed, the $6 billion that is flowing to my state of Oregon over the next 2 years has made a critical difference to support state services, to be able to invest in cleaning up the environment. I've posted a guide on my website to each and every one of those provisions, 62 pages in all, where people can track, not, for example, tax cuts for most, tax increases for most Americans. My friend is just flat wrong. If she would research the material that we approved here on the floor, she would find that, in fact, 95% of the people get tax cuts. Nobody is having tax increases over the next couple of years, even the very wealthy. And it's what, in fact, America has asked for. But I would suggest that it's time for us to step back from some of this goofy back and forth, because I think there are a wide range of areas that we can agree that reform needs to be made. I like what I heard from President Obama on the campaign trail. I heard from the rostrum here when he addressed his first joint session of Congress. There are a number of areas of health, energy, tax, and agriculture that actually can bring people together. Now is not the time for commissions and study groups or for mindless political bickering. Now is the time to actually do what we know we can accomplish. There are multiple areas where it isn't so much picking low-hanging fruit, it's actually picking that fruit up off the ground. We need to articulate a vision of how we're going to accomplish that. For example, in the area of agriculture, it's not just the problem in the past that rich sugar farmers have had more clout than poor, hungry children. There are ways in reforming agriculture that we can put more money in the pocket of more ranchers and farmers and less into the pockets of a wealthy few who don't need it. We can implement reforms to help change the bureaucracy, things like crop insurance reform that independent observers have identified for years, but Congress hasn't had the will to follow through on. We can pay farmers and ranchers to protect the environment, not to damage it. And we can concentrate on strengthening American agriculture and producing more healthy food rather than a few commodities, frankly, that the world has enough of. In the area of health, the research is in. There are a number of communities across the country that are low-cost, high-performing. And in fact, we see some of the areas of the country where we are spending the most government money in Medicare actually is not helping people. In fact, many of those areas actually have worse results because people get unnecessary tests and procedures, not concentrating on things that will make them healthy. We can reward the low-cost, high-performing areas while we send signals to those that are spending lots of money and not performing very well that there's a bipartisan consensus that we're going to fix that. In the area of transportation, there is a vast coalition that has emerged around the country that wants to help the federal government get more money and streamline the federal partnership. They are willing to work with us so that there are more choices and sustainable revenue. The Chamber of Commerce, organized labor, environment, transit, bicyclists, all combine in an approach to make America's transportation partnership with state and local governments better and stronger. We don't need to rely on the same old patterns. We can, in this Congress, take action that unite people all across the spectrum, all across the country. We've got a president who can use the bully pulpit. I strongly urge that we work with him for a new vision, more value, better choices for Americans, and do it now.